Alright everyone, buckle up, because we're in for a hot takes discussion on Stranger Things. And I have some thoughts. So this is me forgetting to put a spoiler warning in this episode, so I'm doing that now. I will just say that I do spoil quite a few big moments, some deaths. I don't get super in-depth in anything because it's been a while since I've watched the show. But honestly, if you haven't seen the show and you plan on watching it, don't watch this review because I tell you names of characters who definitely die and some things like people that don't die. So this is your official warning. Thanks for watching. So before we get into this, I just want to say, if you like the video, please like and subscribe. Maybe give a comment down below if you agree or disagree. And for the people who might be upset by some of my thoughts, I just want to say, we like and appreciate different forms of media and stories, and that's okay. Let's get into it. We're doing things a little bit differently today because I actually have a friend here who wants to ask me a question. So, let's bring him in. I'm sorry, is this thing on? Yes. Hello. Some of you might call me the Colonel. I'm a big fan of Stranger Things. Have you seen Stranger Things, John? You know, I have seen Stranger Things, the entire show that's out so far, and I have a lot of controversial opinions on it. I think the general population is really high on the show, and I'm not quite sure why, because seasons 1 and 4 are, frankly, pretty terrible. Well, as being part of the general populace, I'd have to firmly disagree. This is an outrage. This is one of the best shows I've ever seen. How could you say such things? It's true, I do expect a lot of people to disagree with my thoughts on the show, but they're just my thoughts. So let's talk about my thoughts. Season 1, I thought was an incredibly just overrated, boring show. I wasn't planning on watching the show, but the hype got to a point where it was like, okay, there must be something here. So I watched it, and I was like, really? I just didn't think it was that good. I thought that the main characters were kind of annoying, boring. I don't know, it just wasn't really my type of show in season 1, but in season 2 and 3, I actually will say that I got really into the show. Again, when it came to kind of like the main characters at home doing their D&D stuff, wasn't really my thing. I got really into maybe like the high school and the mall stuff in seasons 2 and 3. I don't know why, just those stories kind of interested me. I know it's kind of like typical random drama stuff that is probably in every show ever, but that part actually kept me interested. All of the real drama stuff, the demons coming to like Earth and stuff, I don't know. It just all felt kind of cheesy a little bit to me. Except in season 4, which we'll get to in a minute. But before we move on to season 4, let's talk about these first 3 seasons for a sec. So I think season 1 had one of the more surprising moments in it, and that was when I think her name was Barb, right? Barb dies, and like, I don't know. I think that kind of set expectations a little bit higher for me because I was like, whoa, I did not expect that. And then for a lot of the show, most of the characters have had like plot armor, and obviously nothing's going to happen to them, and that was really kind of annoying to me. I think Will was a good example of that in season 1, and then kind of a few other times throughout the show. Just seems like he should have died, I guess, and he never really has any negative effects other than, oh my god, what might happen to him, which is kind of annoying. But then, there's things like what happened with Billy, who was probably one of my favorite characters, I think. What a great storyline that was. Shame that he is gone in the universe, I guess. I thought he was a great character. And then you have Hopper, and Hopper was my favorite character for a really long time until season 4, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I guess, long story short, because this video is mostly centered on season 4, so I just want to catch up to season 4. So season 1, mostly it was okay. Thought there was a couple good surprises. I thought overall it was just overrated, kind of boring. The kids were kind of stupid. That's season 1, really. It's been a while since I've watched it, so I can't offer much. Season 2 and 3, I thought was a lot more stronger, a lot more interesting. I got really into them. And then season 4 came out. And season 4 started out pretty good. Like, I think the highlight might have been Chrissy, was she a cheerleader, I think, that was trying to get drugs. She was acted so well, and it was so sad when she died because, I don't know, she was just a fun character, I think, and she didn't get enough time, and that seems to be a general sentiment online, I guess, is a lot of people really liked her. But then we get to the other guy, which I'm blanking on his name, and I should have looked it up, but it was the rocker guy, and I just didn't understand the point of him, and then he died, and I still just, frankly, didn't care. But that's just the beginning of the issues of Season 4, and Season 4 kind of like started out good, and then it got kind of...
Yes, well, I guess we just have to agree to disagree because I think it's one of the best shows I've ever seen. Well, you know, if that's how things have to be, that's how things have to be. So, we can still be friends, though, right?
I mean, yeah, we can still be friends, but, like, I'd appreciate it next time if you didn't interrupt me. Anyway, I think it's best if we, like... Maybe we won't have you back. Thanks for everything, Colonel. I appreciate it. Anyway, so Season 4. Season 4 had a bunch of issues. The first I touched on, which was Hopper's story. He gets captured at the end of Season 3, and then his entire arc in the next season is being at a Russian labor camp, and it's very boring and drawn out and kind of pointless. So that's kind of his storyline. But then we have the rest of the story, and let's just get to the brass tacks, right? That whole season was supposed to be super intense and crazy and like elevated and scary to a point that was like different than the first 3 seasons. And I definitely felt that early on. You're like, oh boy, shit's gonna happen in this season. Except it doesn't. So the first, I'm gonna say half of the season, even though it's like 7 episodes, I think, and the second half is 2 like movie length episodes. It's kind of really stupid and strange how they split it up, and I think that was a really stupid decision, and I don't understand it, especially for just 2 episodes, and I understand fully that it's just Netflix basically trying to get more money, more subscribers for a longer period of time, but they could have easily done that if they just wanted to break some of those second episodes in half and then just have, 4 more episodes tacked on the end, I guess. But either way, the last half of the season is absolutely miserably boring and stupid and ridiculous. And I was so excited to see those 2 episodes because the first half of season 4, without the context of the last half, seemed really pretty good. Like it was setting up for something strong and crazy, and I was actually kind of excited to see it. Then I saw the next 2 episodes, the last half, and that kind of erased everything I thought about the first half. I went from like thinking, okay, the first half's pretty good, to hating it. I hate season 4. I hate the entire thing. It's so bad. And the reason why I hate it so much is because the last 2 episodes, and I actually saw reviews for these episodes before I watched them, and I was super excited to watch them because people were talking about how amazing they were, and I was like, great, let's watch them. So I watched them, and oh my god, both of them almost put me to sleep. They were so boring. You had the big bad villain there, and who cares? He was the least frightening villain of anything ever. He didn't kill anyone. He didn't do anything to anyone. He mostly monologued forever about stupid shit. And I was like, okay, instead of monologuing, you could just kill these people and take over the world, right? It was so unbelievably dumb that I could not get over it. Now, he did kill the rocker guy, I think I mentioned, but really, that character felt like he was inserted into the show for you to quickly fall in love with and then die. So his like death to me had zero impact. I was like, okay, great. Maybe if they'd killed one of the core characters, that would have really stuck, I think. But there were so many moments in this show where people were doomed to die, and then they got out of it in the most ridiculous, like forced ways possible. And that always, like, I will forgive a couple of those. Even in my own book, and I market my book as grimdark fantasy, which is like consequences, and bad things happen to good people, and not everything always works well. Even in that, I have some of these things happen, right? You can't always just kill everyone because, well, I suppose you could, but it just is makes a better story if sometimes people get out of things alive, I think. But that didn't work in Stranger Things because it happened like every single time. And it gets to a point where you're like, okay, so no one's ever going to die, everyone's safe. I don't really care if a demon's chasing them because I know they'll be fine. And I don't know, I think almost every character in the end of this season had a moment or five where you're meant to think they're going to die, and they didn't. And it was just like, at the end, you're just rolling your eyes, or you've fallen asleep because there's so much monologuing from the villain, and so many things that are just like there to pad the episode out. It gets to a point where you're just like, why am I still watching this? But again, this is all just like my opinion, and it's a very like kind of generalized thought of the show. So I'm not going to get into super specifics. One, because it's been a while since I've seen it, and I mostly wanted to talk about the like in general feelings of the show. I'd have to rewatch it if I wanted to get specifically like this event happened, which irritated me. This event happened, which irritated me. This event happened, which irritated me. And I will never watch or rewatch the show again. Well, that's incorrect. I misspoke. I think that I will give season 5 a shot when it comes out. I'm not excited for it. I have honestly, zero excitement for it. I'll try it. And I think it's the last season, so I might try and force myself through it and hope that it gets better and hope that the writers grow some balls and maybe kill someone of note. But I don't have high hopes, so we'll see. But there's a couple other things I wanted to talk about the show that are really interesting. So first of all, for some reason, Stranger Things is like the phenomenon that really blew Netflix up, and I don't understand why. Because I feel like there's so many better shows on Netflix or Netflix original shows that are more deserving of that than Stranger Things. I think that's pretty strange that Stranger Things is so like big. Yay, dad puns. So there's one other thing I did want to talk about, and that's 11. I don't really like 11 that much. I know that's kind of a hot take. I think she's your typical really overpowered like character, and her character itself I'm not super like invested in, I guess. Weirdly, I see a lot of like sexualization of 11 online. Like, forgot the actress's name, but they'll say like, "Oh, how beautiful is she?" and how and this girl is not even legal, guys. Well, she might be now, but I don't care. It's gross, and I every time I think about Stranger Things, I think about how many people are like grown ass adults who are like interested in the actress or 11, and that just it grosses me out so much. I know that's kind of an aside, but I every time I talk about Stranger Things, I'm just like I can't believe that's even a thing, and for some reason it's like acceptable. It seems no, there's not that much backlash whenever I see it, and I find that strange, honestly, and gross. But that's kind of a random thing to bring up, I suppose. But it's what I see, and it's something I felt the need to bring up because it's nasty. So, yeah, I don't know. I think another character, Lucas, I find him to be very boring too. It's now I don't know the intention with Lucas. And again, it's been a while since I've seen the show, but Lucas to me feels like they were like, oh, we need a black character because we have like only white people, so let's put a black character in here and then we're diverse and it'll be cool. Has Lucas added much to the show? Could the show have been done without Lucas? And that's kind of a common critique that you have with the forced diversity thing. Like in the new Star Wars trilogy, the sequel trilogy is a good example of this because they add Finn. The only reason Finn is there is to be black for advertising and yell Rey's name, right? He adds nothing to the movies, and it's really sad because Finn was an amazing character, and I think that Lucas has he has the acting chops to be a really good character too. But I don't really feel like they gave him much. They had the romance with Billy's sister, who I can't remember her name for some reason. The redhead that skateboards, and that never really felt like that much of a storyline to me. But I don't know. That's just my thoughts on that. I appreciate diverse characters, but I also think it's dumb when it's like they're not actually characters. They're paintings on a wall, so to speak, and it just you can see through it sometimes. And so that's how I feel about Lucas. I liked him, but he doesn't really seem to get the same amount of character growth or depth or storyline that Mike, Will, Eleven, or Dustin does. Right? It just seems like they have more importance. And again, it's been a long time since I've seen it, so if I'm wrong, correct me. That's fine. It's just that's how I'm remembering the show, and it's a little annoying that they do that, but it is what it is. I do want to call out Steve again as being a great character. If anyone has seen the show, the Stranger Things show, and they don't like Steve, I truly don't understand you. I didn't like him in season one, and then everything after that I loved him in, and I think that was on purpose. But his dynamic with his lesbian coworker, right? Or is she bisexual? See, I don't remember, and I don't remember her name, but I love their relationship, and it was great. The whole ice cream thing was all fun, and so there's like really good moments in the show, but man, I don't get why people like it so much. I don't. And season 4 especially was just like a 1 out of 10 for me. I hated it so much. It was so slow and so boring, and season 1 was like maybe a 4 or 5 out of 10 for me. It was very okay, it's fine, but I don't understand why people love it so much. And season 2 and 3, it's been a while. Like I said, it's been a while since I've seen it, so I can't really accurately grade them each separately because they kind of blend together for me. So I'll just give them both like an 8. I really like those 2 seasons a lot, and yeah. So if you agree or disagree with my thoughts that are a little incoherent because it's been a while since I've seen the show, and I apologize for that, go ahead and give me a comment. Let's hear what you guys think about Stranger Things. Did you like it? Do you have any characters you hate, wish had a bit more in the show to do? Are there any character arcs you think are stupid? Maybe Hopper's, because what was that arc and why? It's just weird. Let me know. Until next time, have a great day, guys.